Hello everybody, welcome to the MIGCAST Presents, a look at the Oculus Rift launch. Today we're going to be taking a look at a bunch of the launch titles that are available day one for the Oculus Rift. We're going to be showing you video and giving you impressions of our time playing Project Cars, Lucky's Tale, verbal impressions of E.V.E. Valkyrie, more video and impressions of Elite Dangerous, Farlands, and the animated short film, Henry, narrated by Elijah Wood. To play these titles, we are using an Oculus Rift DK2, as we do not have a CV1. Now that being said, I was very surprised to find that the DK2 was pretty much plug and play. I had to run the new Oculus setup, and it told my computer that I basically didn't meet the requirements, basically because I was missing some hardware, and even though I had USB 3.0 slots, it still tells me that blue message at the top there that basically says I don't meet the requirements, even though my computer blows away the basic requirements. So I'm sure you guys are ready to get to like videos and some more impressions, but I'll have to say when I first loaded up my DK2, I was impressed to see that the home menu, when you go into Oculus Home, you're sitting in like this open concept house. You have a fireplace going on in the background, and in front of you, you have your different menus where you have like your account settings, you have your library, and you have your store. It's very easy and fluid and to get around. You look in the direction of what you want to select, and you push a button on your controller or remote. Now, I don't have an Xbox controller that I can use on my PC, but I was able to take my DualShock 4 and connect that using MotionJoy or DS4 for Windows drivers, and the Oculus Rift automatically found my DualShock 4 and it worked in every game. I had the rumble feature in there on Project Cars, Elite Dangerous, and some other games, and I was kind of shocked that even that was pretty much plug and play. But the biggest surprise I had was with the Oculus 1.3 runtime and NVIDIA and AMD coming out with day one drivers for the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. I found the performance on my old DK2 to be increased quite a bit. Games that used to stutter a little bit before no longer do, and just overall the whole experience of the DK2 is pretty fresh. So if you have a DK2, hold on to it, try out some of the new stuff if you haven't already, and see if you can maybe wait it out for the second or third iteration to come out. But if you guys have the CV1 coming or you're interested in pre-ordering one, now you're going to get a little more info as to what it's good for. I'm going to start showing you guys some videos here. Alright everybody, well we're starting with Project Cars, and I will apologize for bobbing my head around like a nut. I'm just kind of showing that the VR is working. Now unfortunately with the new 1.3 runtime and the last couple runtimes and SDKs, you cannot record using Fraps or OBS the actual video that's coming from the head-mounted display and get a stereoscopic image, because what I've done a couple times is you get that like fisheye lens view, and if you put that on like your TV on a thumbstick or even on YouTube and you have 3D glasses, you can actually watch that back and get the depth in there. So I apologize that you guys can't see as much of the depth, but I mean right there as I looked at my speedometer and like the time and fuel and all that, you are able to look fully around, you're able to turn around. Everything just works. This is the Project Cars that I got through the Oculus Store. I had to set nothing up initially. The game basically put me right into a race when I got in, and it ran. It just worked. Now, the big computer enthusiast in me started going in and messing with settings, and what you guys are seeing doesn't look as good as like Ultra. Like if you look online at screenshots, it doesn't look as good and whatnot, but I think that has something to do with the fact that it's basically running to the headset and it's running on my desktop at the same time. But this is with ultra textures enabled, no shadows because there's currently issues with that with the DK2. No like flares and light bloom, because that is also a huge issue in VR where it is literally blinding. And yeah, everything else is up. I mean, the game is running. The only time you guys will see frame loss is because I'm recording, and so that's a lot of resources. Like right up there a little bit when I'm looking around, you can see a little bit of the judder, and that's why I have the weather set the way I did. You know, it started off sunny and it slowly got worse, just so I could kind of push and try to tax my system. Now, given the scale of Project Cars, there are tons and tons of options where if you have, you know, like anybody with a PC, if you have a lot of different types of hardware going on in there and you need to dial back settings, you have a lot of options to do that. Even the VR menu, the virtual reality menu, has a lot of different options that you can tweak for FOV. In game, if I pull up my options right now, there's another menu where you can adjust your depth in the seat. You know, is your seat sitting higher? Are you back? You can adjust the scale of the world. Because the DK2 is missing its old setup, you can't adjust the IPD, the pupillary distance, that you used to be able to set. So it's kind of like a default. It's set to a default amount basically. So sometimes the scale of a world might be just a pinch off, which I didn't have that issue, but some people may. So yeah, Project Cars, $49.99 on the Oculus Store. Now let's take a look at Lucky's Tale. This game is free, and if you didn't pre-order the CV1 headset and you just have a DK2, you don't get E.V.E for free. That's only for pre-orders, but you do have Lucky's Tale for free. And so this game is really impressive. I was not expecting, when I saw the video, when they announced this, I thought it was just one of those kind of platformers you would drop in and maybe put only like 10 minutes into, and then you would just be done playing it. I was not expecting it to really feel like, when I first played Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64, it changed like, well, you guys should know if you grew up with that, it changed the way like 3D platforming was done. And I feel with Lucky's Tale, adding the VR element, it really shows how platforming games can shine, and how there's kind of room for every genre, I think, with virtual reality. And it's kind of cool to see a lot of developers show that, prove that. You know, there's murder mysteries, there's, you know, first person shooters, there's, you know, simulation games are going to be plentiful. And so I mean, you get all these unique ideas that are coming to fruition with VR, and I think that's why this is like a renaissance essentially. Because I mean, look at, you know, Lucky's Tale, how I'm able to, with the headset on, I can bob around in the environment, I can lean closer, I can snake my head around and check out the amazing level design. I mean, this was recorded earlier, obviously, and I'm adding my commentary now. But if you catch my head looking over, you just see insane amounts of detail. I mean, they really expected you to crane your head around and look at all the different nooks and crannies of this world. Not to mention, there's a lot of hidden little areas and whatnot that you can take advantage of. I mean, it literally feels like a Nintendo game. Well, I mean, the rest of this is going to play out. Why don't I tell you guys my opinion on E.V.E. If you buy the CV1, or you're planning on getting it, you'll get E.V.E for free. You get Lucky's Tale for free, and there's a bunch of other stuff for free. But E.V.E is one of the really big titles that a lot of people are salivating over, and I really wasn't a huge fan of it. It seems just very limited, smaller in scope, not too many maps, not too many gameplay options. It really feels like a $15 to $20 game, and so I just really can't see why they're charging $59.99 for that on the Oculus Store. I don't know, like, as much as I'm not a huge fan of like the sci-fi space simulations, Elite Dangerous really sold me on that, and to have more patience, to have amazing gameplay. And rather than jerk off Elite Dangerous, why don't we go to that and show you guys a little bit of that real quick. Alright guys, so Elite Dangerous. It's weird because this game it's been mentioned so long. Like, when I got my DK2, everybody was going on about, you need to play Elite Dangerous. And the one thing that was always keeping me from playing it was having to dick around with a lot of the settings with the Oculus, the DK2, and the fact that it's a space simulation, that there's a lot of options, a lot of things to tweak, throttles, engage weapon systems before you can even fire. Like, it's really intense. But I also like that because where E.V.E kind of feels like a quick, it's easy to get in and out of that experience. Like, you go, you put in a couple minutes, play or a round or two, and then you're done. With this game, it feels like you can really sit down and play for hours and just lose yourself in it. And obviously here I'm going through some options. I apologize. I had recorded about 2 hours of gameplay, but this is while I was trying to tweak to get like a 3D perspective for y'all. So it's a little zoomed in and a little probably hard to watch, but I'm basically doing a couple of the tutorial missions flying in out of the spaceship. And it's really, I mean, you guys can see me looking around. I'm playing as a chick, so yeah, I got boobs. You look to the left, you have a computer, right? You have a computer that gives you all your different information that you can cycle through. And my neck killed me after playing this for a bit, because as I was dogfighting with other spaceships, I was literally turning my head all around so I could see them at the top of my cockpit, and I could realign my ship with them, and just really rewarding combat. But I wanted to say too, guys, if you buy Elite Dangerous, you get the deluxe edition through the Oculus Store for $59.99. I went and bought it through the developer themselves, and I got the $29.99 pack. And when you go to partner keys, it gives you a key that you can redeem in the Oculus Store. So I basically was able to redeem not the deluxe edition, but the Oculus Store shows that I bought it, and I have access to the content that I had paid the $29.99 for. So I mean, I think with Elite Dangerous, I think you guys should at least check it out. It's challenging but very rewarding and very immersive. The main app for the Oculus Rift to really show it off. So now we're gonna move on to Henry. And I'm going to talk a little bit over the narration at first, just because there's music going. I don't want to get in trouble or anything. But if you turn your sound up, I'll be quiet here in a minute. You can hear Elijah Wood provided the narration for this story.
But he loved to hug everyone he met.
And what I think is cool is because this, kind of like Lucky's Tale, is going to be those types of apps where you can get kids involved with VR. They're not going to really get motion sick. Some of these stories have you just sitting in a fixed spot, and you can interact with the world, look around. And I think that's a good thing, because children are going to be able to kind of get their VR legs. They're going to acclimate themselves, and as they get older, they'll work their way up to, I mean, I can't even imagine the apps on the horizon and stuff coming out. And I have one more thing to show you guys after this. I'm going to let some of this play out. I'm not going to ruin the story here. But while you guys are watching the rest of this, a little bit of this demo here, I just wanted to say how proud I am with what Oculus has done here at this launch. I can't speak for HTC and what they've done with the E.V.E. because I don't have experience with that. But, I mean, I got this DK2 that you're seeing all this being ran on a year and a month or year and 2 months ago. And I've played a lot of various demos, a lot of games that have official and unofficial support. And the amount of polish and just, I keep saying plug and play, but the way that I was just able to hook up this old unit and basically have all this stuff working with the amount of polish, not having to really tinker with settings unless I want to go out of my way to pretty up some stuff, I'm impressed. Because the biggest concern, guys, that I had with the DK2 when it first came out is how intense it could be with having to like set things to extended mode, tweak this, set direct to Rift. There are so many little settings that you can mess up, and I was afraid that the everyday person wouldn't be able to pick up on it. So real quick here, we're going to go to a new demo. And the last thing I want to show you guys is Farlands, which is, it's a free game. At the moment, I believe they're going to start charging down the road, and I'm not too sure if they're going to keep patching and if they're going to add to this. It's a really cool game. You're exploring like this alien planet. You have to click on different plants, different fruits, there's different aliens, and the more you explore, you get points, and when you go back to your spaceship, you can churn in like all the intelligence and whatnot that you've gathered. So I'll be interested to see if it grows from this. I have not followed this game or this demo's development, so I don't know what the whole plan is, if this is going to be like Spore, like in a VR sense. I'm very happy with the way the game looks and runs. In virtual reality, it's really impressive. As you can see, as that alien goes past me, I just wish you could move around on foot. I don't like the fixed, like you're anchored into the ground and your head can swivel with this. But I understand, because of the way the ocean and the different caves in the mountains, like you don't want to give people a lot of that free reign, because they're gonna like get stuck and they're gonna break some stuff. So this is another game that would be great for kids. I even enjoyed it, just going through and kind of exploring everything on launch day, and going back to it since then, and just about to level up. And we'll show you up here in a minute, guys. Once I'm getting all turned around, I'm going to go back to my ship here, and you see all sorts of different species that you can interact with. Really cool little interesting kind of game. And I wanted to like talk about too, with exploring worlds, like imagine what zoos and some of these places are going to be able to do with VR. I think was it Six Flags or whatever, was talking about doing different rides with a lot of the virtual reality built in, and utilizing a lot of that. So it's going to be very impressive and pretty cool, actually, to see how all these companies and all these different all this different technology gets utilized in all aspects, all fields, you know, military, education, police, astronauts, like everything. Like, people can utilize virtual reality for many things, and games we're just kind of the front runners here. I mean, I think we're kind of testing out the market and trying to see how successful it can be, and I'm pretty hopeful that this is going to be a pretty big thing. I'm thinking that it's going to kind of take off, but time will tell. I mean, we'll have to wait and see the numbers and whatnot at the end of the day. So that's the end of the demos that I have to show for now. I'm sorry guys that the stereoscopic little recording is not working right now, because it is really cool if you got 3D TV or monitors or whatnot. I will plan on recording more of like Elite Dangerous and some of these other games, and basically anything coming up on the horizon. There is Chronos, which has been getting some pretty cool reviews. It's like fixed camera like Resident Evil, but like part Dark Souls like difficulty, but like hack and slash, really good environments. Some people have not liked the whole fixed camera thing, but I kind of like that kind of retro kind of camera. You can still kind of pivot around with your head and really kind of explore the depth. And Chronos is $49.99 on the Oculus Store. So, I mean, it's a little hefty in price, but you definitely get your gameplay's worth. And there seems to be a lot of unique different environments and whatnot in there. So, coming up, you got Crytek's big game. It's like you're climbing, and the graphics look really good, so that'll be interesting to see. And just the launch window in general is pretty decent. They didn't just front load everything. They got a lot of stuff trickling out. Valve is kind of updating a lot of games. There's games outside of the Oculus Store that do work, and that's what is great is the ease of access. Like I had said during the Henry demo, everything is much easier. It's more plug and play. There's not a lot of trickery and tinkering that's involved, and it pretty much just works. You know, granted, you need to have, you know, a good enough system to really run everything to the full potential. So I mean, yeah, I really feel that if you guys are on the fence about VR, I think you guys should jump in. I mean, the cost of getting into VR is, you know, a high-end GPU, and you imagine what, you know, you get prettier graphics, and you're going to get a whole new dimensional experience with a virtual reality device. And there's plenty of content, guys, between different, you know, videos online, pictures, you know, porn, tons of games, demos. This technology is here to stay. It's just going to be a matter of how long will it take to continue to get bigger and build. So, I mean, yeah, so that's the Oculus Rift launch. I mean, our look at it. We're not reviewing the CV1, like I've said. We're just looking at the titles that are out there and our experience with an older dev kit. And we're very impressed. I mean, I am been so ecstatic and rejuvenated with VR, knowing that this old set could work still and whatnot. And with the touch coming out at the middle to end of this year, it's very exciting, guys. So I'm so excited. Thank you guys for watching. Please click like, comment, subscribe, and let us know what type of games and demos you would like to see in VR, and we'll record them. All right, guys? Thanks again.